Are you there?
I'm
What's
here.
up, Walt?
How's it going?
Hey guys, Dave Rusher, Walter Thurman III, and this is Talk. You know, taking weeks off. You know, it's the off season, recouping a little bit, giving Walter time to get his softball legs going. So how are the girls doing, Walt?
Yeah, it's going good. The wife and I started this back in December, picking through the players there and kind of formulating the team and come a long way. It's a good balance of a couple seniors, some juniors, some freshmen. We have a couple freshmen that are going to be playing a lot of time for us this season. So just being able to see their development and the confidence they've had through the past 3 months now, it's been good though. Good learning experience.
Have you found another pitcher?
There's some people that kind of emerged
All right.
that could have some potential, maybe couple games here or there, but really looking forward to more develop them for next season.
Yeah. So, but you're already doing your record's already better than last year, right?
We're with it's a little bit over 500 right now. We're 3-3-1. We had opportunity to win a couple of games last week that kind of got away from us, kind of dug ourselves in a hole, which we could have be, 5-1-1, within that capacity. So, but it was, I think for me, looking at it, even despite the loss, because we were playing 26 games on the season, not including playoffs. But for me, it was trying to see the mental resolve. One of the games we were down 10-0 in the first inning and came back to a 9-10 ball game at the sixth inning, had opportunity to tie it, got thrown out at home, and they scored a couple of runs. But for me, it was just trying to seeing that none of them hung their heads. They stuck with it. They trusted defense. The bats were working. So for me, it was good to see. It was a good loss, if that makes sense, right? It was kind of see what the team was kind of made of. I think maybe in years past they could have just been down and just kind of folded, through the course of it, kind of how some of the games might have been and stuff like that. So yeah, we're learning.
Actually, Walt, you've been we've played enough sports, not just football, but enough sports, and we've been on those lopsided type games. And it's easy to toss a towel, just a man, just say, all right, next
Yeah.
one. But that's actually huge for those girls to
Oh,
come
yeah.
back.
The Hawks fans know. With 2013, Houston, Texas, and we're down 20 going to fourth quarter. In that Texans game, and that was a pivotal game for us of just showing like that resolve of you got to play all four quarters, and no one on that team, especially in that defense, had no doubt that we were going to go put ourselves in position to be able to win that game. I think we get a pick six. Sherm gets a pick six, changes and turn, offense gets clicking again, defense gets pretty stout, and we walk off winning that game. And so, you see these different aspects of if you stick with it and you believe that you can compete, let the other team fall asleep at the wheel because I think they got the game won already. And so, and again, obviously that was like a pivotal moment for us, along with the Carolina Panther game. I think Hawk fans remember that one too. Kind of a similar situation where it was like, 4 minutes left in the game and we're down and they have the ball and we force a turnover late, go down and score. And same type of situation, just having that grit, just having that trust and belief in what's going on in that moment. No one's hanging their head, but then, it goes to show that we wouldn't go in to win a Super Bowl because we were mentally prepared of being down and out.
What about that Packers game too? Pete calls it, or whoever called the fake, was it fake field goal?
Yeah, but that was the year after though.
Right. But
Yeah, but it's the same situation though, right? Yeah, you're coming from behind, and you pull a rabbit out the hat and get a quick one on them. Now everyone's all discombobulated, right? Because it's supposed to be 3 points. Now you got 7, and so those little things play a factor within the opponents that you're playing. Though, it's been great just taking what I've learned through playing football, whether in high school, college, or professionally, and like being a part of teams that had to be rebuilt to be championship teams. And I think that's really helping me out from a coaching standpoint, because again, we haven't had a lot of success at the school in almost 10 years type of situation. Below 500 type of records. And so the mentality is kind of really a losing mentality. And so being able to kind of assist and show that, hey, believe in yourself. We're mentoring young people. So it's like, it's changing that thought process, changing that mindset, and just showing that, hey, get your confidence through the work that you're putting in. And I think it's starting to click for a lot of the girls.
I think it's. I just think it's funny because I love math, but You say, and we're a bit over 500. Well, 3-3-1 is like, was it like a 5-10?
Just a little bit over.
Hey, but it is over 500. It's an interesting topic. I didn't plan to talk about it, but because the other side of being up that early, I used to hate those games because I've been in that, on the field, and we're up 21-0 in the first quarter, and it's like I just say because I can just see it. You can see it on the sideline. Guys just get like they start laughing, they start joking around, and it's like, hey, it's over.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'd rather be behind or be a tight game and have it be competitive because it's so easy to rest on your laurels there when you're up.
Yeah. And you're able to attack still too when you're kind
Yeah.
of a little bit behind or if it's even game. And like it's like the Super Bowl Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons. That was a
Yeah.
prime example of a situation. But one of the stats through the course of that season, because that wasn't an anomaly of a situation for the Atlanta Falcons. I think they were leading the league in scoring, especially first half scoring. So they would get up on teams by, double digits in the 20s in a lot of essence. In regular season, a lot of guys check out already, right? On the opposing team there. So like they got by and won a lot of games in that same capacity, and they thought it was a regular season type of game. That was kind of what it felt like, right? We're up by so many points. There's no way they're going to come back. But hey, you have a guy on the other side who's ultimate competitor and pulled everyone in of like, hey, this game's not over yet. Let them fall asleep at the wheel, and we're about to come in and like thieves in the night and take the caravan over, and that's what happened. So
Yeah, and the Falcons, man, they had that crazy receiving core. They're
yeah,
like pretty much like linemen when I was playing out there catching balls and really an excellent quarterback that I don't think will ever get the accolades he probably deserves
Matty
for,
Iso, yeah, for sure,
for as
yeah.
talented as he is.
One of the best deep ball throwers. It's so pretty how it just kind of just moon balls and drops in there. Like I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, great arm, yeah.
yep. So hey, so the Seahawks, we've been making some moves. I don't know if you saw, it's that time of year. We're getting in front of the draft and clearing some cap space and making some moves. I read through the names. I don't know if you saw it, but Draymond Jones and then Roy Robertson Harris, two DTs, and Rayshawn Jenkins, a safety. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with him?
A little bit. He came from Miami, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how much time he was. And then George Fant, which George, he's been battling injuries. I think for as long as he's been with the team. I don't know if any of those are much of a surprise, but what I didn't realize is that Draymond was carrying like a $25.5 million cap hit if they kept him, and he just wasn't what they had hoped he would be with the big contract that they gave him. I think it was over a $30 million contract for 3 years. Hey, they cleared 28 million with those four players.
Yeah.
I don't see any surprises. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, like the young team. I mean, they did a good number, especially at the defensive line, drafting people, bringing people in. The DB room is very thick out there, very young talent, great talent. So I
Yeah,
can see them going and draft another safety. So you kind of swap one guy out that has some money on the contract and get a free agent, maybe fourth round, third, fourth round. They having success there, maybe in fifth round. You might find a steal in the draft there. But again, at that point, you're paying them $500,000 or something like that on the year, which you're not taking a significant cap hit, right? And then I can see them with some of those departures, looking for some key pieces in free agency. I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised they get a veteran alignment. Look, especially if you're looking to win now. I don't think you go draft. I mean, you might draft a guy to have someone on reserve, but I think they probably bring a guy in from free agency to beef up that offensive line to try to really make a push going into this next season.
Well, and I think we do. We've talked about our season. It was much better than a lot were than expected. We were over on the wins. And those guys that create those lines are pretty spot on. I think we're 2 wins over. We should have been like 3 wins over. We've talked about that. So I think that the talent is there. Is like, why not go now? We
Yeah,
have a few key areas that are question marks, but they're good enough with as much extra talent as we have in other areas. So we need to both sides of the men in the trenches need to be solidified, and I think we're good to go. Speaking of men in the trenches, have you watched any of the combine?
I have not.
Okay, I'm not a big combine watch. I mean, it's like not totally interesting, but I do like to see how the guys are performing. It's just,
Yeah.
man, I was watching the O linemen run their 40s, and these cats are like 6'6", 325, running 4'8", 4'9", 40s.
I seen a couple of those though on the socials. Yeah,
That's moving.
that's moving. Yeah, a lot of
300
massive force.
and 320, and so I don't think people realize, those there's there every year there's four, even like 4'7" for offensive linemen, but they're like, 280, 290 guys. And I don't think people realize the difference between 280, 290, and 320. It doesn't sound like a huge disparity, but it is. I mean, 30 pounds is a lot of weight. I mean, think about yourself.
Yeah,
Putting
no,
on
it's
30
not weight
pounds
for
and trying to
sure.
run. What was your best 40?
It was in the 4.3 range in college, and then
Was that with like one of these, or was that like a electronic,
it was probably a little bit of both.
the downhill?
Little bit downhill. You gotta go ahead.
439.
Hey, whatever they tell you, always run your 40 downhill.
Yeah, 439. Hey, 4 3 is 4. Hey, that's actually moving.
A little moving. That was when I had my track speed up.
Yeah.
I was still running hurdles and still doing track at that point, and then toward the knee, and then never really got timed after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well for you guys. It is pretty important. So I'm not sure what the fastest time was on a 40.
For linemen,
No, overall, like for the combine. I,
I
I
know
don't.
I know somebody cracked a 4.29. I think someone broke a 4.3.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah,
I was at the gym and somebody said somebody ran a 398. I'm like, I don't think so.
3.98.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that would have been that would have been,
I mean, the only
odd
person.
news. I mean, I don't think anyone's been close. I think 418 or something like that is the fat, or 41.
Yeah, that you're talking. Someone running that fast is an Olympic runner. Like, I mean, that's how fast that is right there.
Yeah.
And if they do put the football pads on, they're running one route. Those guys don't run routes well.
Go and they typically don't catch well.
Yeah, it's go. See you later. Like, yeah, you're not catching him. It's like he's out of there.
Yeah, that's funny. So what I didn't get was the max number of reps on 225, because that's all I care about. And but I did see like I think a tight end hit over 30 reps, which I think that's pretty impressive for the younger guys. They still don't quite have their man muscles. Of course, I don't know. Some of these guys are 6-year collegiate players, so
That's true.
yeah. They're like the Mormons out of BYU when they're going on their mission and they're coming into the league at 27. It's a little different than we were coming out. Well, how old were you when you came out?
Oh man, I was still 17 when I that NFL. I was 21.
Okay, I think I should know, but I think I was 24, 23 or 24. I was a 5-year because I redshirted. I think I was 20.
So the highest on the bench right now was 33.
That's all.
Luke Kandra from Cincinnati.
What position? O line.
Guard, yeah, he was a guard.
Wow.
And then you have a tight end from Alabama that put up 32.
Yeah. Wow. That's I could still do 33.
Hey, you gotta get him in the gym or something. So
Gotta
they
do
gotta let him
something.
lift weights.
Yeah.
But but so what the art on the bench press though, because it's more stamina. Like you're not. It doesn't matter really. You still need to be strong,
Right.
but you also have to have the endurance to be able to with the strength as well, right?
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of the guys train for like a max, and they're
Mhm.
training at very low reps, and they're like you said, they're training for that strength. I did always a combination of both. I always had a light day and I had a heavy day, and and when my heaviest was 505 on bench.
Okay.
So I mean when I was going heavy, I was
You were
going
going heavy,
heavy,
yeah.
and that was a long bench workout. My bench workouts were like an hour. So I mean that's
Just
just
for the bench.
bench. Yeah, well, because you just have to take the breaks, otherwise you rip your muscles up. And in order, just warm up and throw 500 pounds on.
But
You
yeah, no,
gotta,
you gotta build up to it for
you gotta
sure.
build
Yeah.
up to get there. Yeah,
Well, I mean, so like in between, so like once you warmed up, you're throwing 350 on the bar. That's probably your warm up.
315 was my first set.
The 315 was the 40. So then you go to 350. How much are you taking in between as you're getting up to 500?
So when I'm doing my more reps, the 10, 12s, I would take about, I don't know, 4 minutes. But when, I started going to, 425, 455, 475, then I'm taking, almost 8 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes.
Also, a max rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I would, if I shortchange it, it's so easy to pull something,
Yep.
you know. And
Yeah.
I didn't use all that garbage and all that gear. You see these guys with these straps across their chest and all this
Yeah.
cheat stuff. And I did a wrist brace. That was about it. Because we started throwing that much weight on your joints. You know,
Yeah.
something's gonna give.
Just be able to protect yourself.
But then again, I would train for reps. Like even today at the gym, I do 4 sets of 25 with 225. And, so, I mean, I could still do over 30 reps if just, given a single go at it. And my best was 46 reps at
46.
225. But you're right. You have to train for that too, because, if you're just going for the big, just training the big muscles, you'll exhaust yourself. Um, Yep, and lock up. So it's amazing to see how agile and quick those big guys are. And I'm looking at some of the new drills where they lay them on their back and they have them pop up and shuffle and shift and watch them just in their movement. I just find it real interesting because if you really truly watch it and watch their feet and their hips and the way they're moving, you really do get an indication of how they're going to be out on that field. It's an interesting drill. It's kind of like the old box drill. What did you guys do? What kind of things did you guys do other than drop back?
For the combine?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know.
All right. Well,
So
you
so
gotta
so
share.
for the viewers watching, yeah. So my senior year, I tore my ACL, MCL, PCL in October of that season, and so I was more like in the rehab type of space, getting the knee prepared. So when did get invited to the combine, and it was a lot of medical, a lot of poking, a lot of prodding to see the dexterity and the strength of in the healing process of the knee. Obviously high weight, and then I did the bench press as well. And then so that was the only thing that I did. That was my combine experience.
How many reps did you do?
I want to say
Yeah, I was just that was what was in my head. It'd be
yeah.
a
I
good
want to say
solid
18.
GB number.
Yeah, 15, 18. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was too shabby. It wasn't too shabby.
Yeah. Well, what did you weigh?
I waited. I came in at about 190, but that was
Okay.
kind of like everyone's kind of like water weight. I mean, so like my actual weight during that time was probably like 185, 187.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad weight. I will say that you brought up the medical aspect of it. I think that was the majority of it. I was really amazed at all the measurements. They did the wingspan. Would have you? I don't know if they had you do this, but we had to walk down a thing. They filmed the way we walked, the way our feet, whether they're out or pigeon toed or it was amazing to me everything that they measured. And it was down to a science. It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean yeah, it really is though, because I mean they're trying to see if they had doctors that are watching how you're walking, if your hips are off in alignment, and like you said, if you are pigeon toed, is he going to be prone to injuries? I mean they're making a lot of calculated assessments of what's going on, during that combine because they're about to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars into some of these athletes here, and so like they're just trying to make
Well,
sure.
for me, it was thousands of dollars. Back in the '80s, they got that whopping $12,000 signing bonus, for my
Yeah,
12th round. But yeah, things were a little different then. But I guess it's all relative.
yeah.
The other thing too is they fly us out to Indianapolis, and I never really. I mean, I played on turf a few times, but as an offensive lineman, I didn't run on it. Really.
Was it like astroturf? So like just the straight concrete, the carpet on top.
The really nasty AstroTurf.
Yeah.
It didn't
Okay.
have any beads in it. It wasn't soft. Like my last year in Montreal, we'd be playing on some of these fields, and you feel like you're bouncing on air.
Mm.
I mean, it was like, man, I loved it,
Yeah.
but not in 88. So,
Is it
um,
1988?
And I stumbled, like I caught my heel or caught something on both of my 40s. And it's almost as soon as you do that, as soon as I did, I'm already in my head going, I'm screwed. Not that it was going to be a good run anyway. That just wasn't
Yeah.
my giddy up. I was just big. Fortunately, I was always in shape playing basketball every day. I was a very fit 305 pounds, but I was never fast. So it always amazed me. My roommate was Dave Cadigan, and I don't know if you remember that name, but
Madigan.
he was like the he was a first round pick out of SC to the Jets. He was only about 6'3", 6'4", but he ran a 4.65.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 6'3", about 265.
Ooh.
Once again, it's a big difference when you're adding another 60 to 70 pounds to a kid, and he's running just two tenths of a second slower than you. Yeah. Um, I'm wondering though. They got all this stuff down to a science,
Hmm.
and they look at all of these measurements and all these things that really, when it boils down to, have nothing to do with a player on the field.
Not at
I mean,
all.
would you agree to that?
Most definitely.
You
Yeah.
know, I have been with coaches. I've helped coach. I mean, high school coach. You're helping a high school coach, and so many coaches go. They go, who's your starting defensive lineman? And I go, this kid. And they go, no. Have you seen him in the weight room? And I said, I don't care. Have you seen him on the field?
Yeah.
And that eyeball test, I think one of the worst teams ever were the Cowboys. I don't know if you heard about this, but back in the day, they would just bring kids in. Literally, their scouts would be at the airport. And depending on how that kid came walking
Look.
off the plane, I mean, through the airport with his stuff, they would actually hand him a ticket to go back. It's purely eyeball test. And I think that's way overrated.
Well, most definitely, and like it's a cheap way to try to identify talent, right? Because to your point, you have to go on the field, regardless of the sport. I mean, you have to go on the field and be able to compete. I mean, someone could look the part, run the part, jump out the gym, and you get out there, they don't understand the X's and O's of football.
Mm-hmm.
They get discombobulated out there. They could have all the tangibles, but they just can't cover the particular type of routes or receivers. So I mean, it is a false metric because I think you have a lot of guys that have missed opportunities from high school to college and then college and NFL based off of the eye test. And I was one of those guys. I still remember to this day, and this is why I had so much competitive times against USC. I remember I was a small framed guy coming out of high school, and I remember one of Pete's sons actually was, I think, tight end coach. He came into the weight room or the locker room and gave the assessment, and like just laughed out the room pretty much because of just the eye test.
Right.
So for me, it was like, oh, okay. So every time I'm going against you guys, I'm going to show you.
Did you tell Pete that?
I don't know if he had the conversation, but I think he would be familiar about it though, right? Because I mean, he keeps tabs on the Southern California guys, the guys that get away, and
Uh-huh.
there was two other guys they gave scholarships to that were like they were two of them like were top 10 corners in the country or something like that. And so it was like keeping tabs on where they were at, where I was at, and so everything happens for a reason, though. I mean, everyone's path is a different path within that capacity. But I think a lot of people do get overlooked just because of the eye test, and a lot of people get opportunities because of the eye test as well.
Right. I will tell you. I have found this to be true. Some of the best offensive linemen ever have the ugliest bodies. So for me, you know me, I'm really top heavy. You said 22-inch arms. I was just stupid big, right? Really, if I was as good as I looked, I probably would have played a while. But I probably looked better than I played. I'd be one of those guys. Just if I'm going to be true about assessing
Yes.
my talent, because I didn't have that lower body. I was top heavy, which does not bode well. When you're 6'7", you're already losing that leverage game, right? That
Yeah,
center
for
of
sure.
gravity. But the best offensive linemen are all butt and hips, and they just have huge legs and butt, and you can't because you can't toss them.
You can't toss them, yeah.
No, and so all you had to do is get me out over my toes, and I was toast, and so that whole eyeball test deal. And man, if you're a young kid listening, and we have quite a few young kids that do listen. Don't let anybody do that. and you've just got to work hard and keep doing what you need to do, and
Keep
because
making plays. Keep making plays and believe in yourself.
keep making
It,
plays.
it always shows up on tape. Always
That's
shows
right.
up on tape. Yeah.
So I think I mentioned it. I said, well, we started late because Walt was coming back from a game. So we're going to vary our times during the off season. We're going to make sure Walt's on time. We're going to do as often as possible through the off season. Here's a good thing, Walter. I went to an event, and I haven't talked to you since then. So okay, so I had a high school friend call me. And goes, hey Dave, I see you do a lot of stuff with kids. Will you do a fundraising event for these kids that it's about diet and healthy lifestyle, but they're underserved and underprivileged kids, so they don't have access to how do I eat healthy and food to eat healthy? And I said, of course I'll do that. What are we doing? He goes, we're rowing. And
Rowing like rowboats.
like an erg machine.
Okay.
Okay, you know an erg machine, right?
Yeah.
All right, they're not for 6'6", 300-pound cats.
Yeah. They're tough to get into. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean the seat's like, okay, and it moves,
You need two.
and
You need two seats.
yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'm down with it, He goes, do you row? And I said, no, but I could muster it. I mean, I've done it before, I've done it in a gym, I've tried it, I get it. Here's what he didn't tell me is that it was going to be a team of 10. Well, we had 9, and we were rowing a marathon, 26 miles in 2-minute intervals, and they were sprints. Okay, I know you're good at math.
Yeah. So each person was taking a turn, like 2 minutes on.
2 minute, boom, and you had to hop off, hop on, brace in, boom, move that little moving seat that's really tiny. I fell off at once, trying to get my big fat butt on it, and
That's crazy. Yeah. How long that take?
3.5 hours. Walt. Okay, so the next day wasn't so bad. I got up, I did my walk, went to the gym. It was that second day.
The second day it hit you, huh?
It started settling in. Third day, everything was tight, and it was not good, man. It was like everything. My ankles hurt, my ears, everything was stiff. It was like brutal, but I liked it. I mean, it was just a heck of a. I mean, it was a brutal workout, and what came of that was what I was getting to was we've got at this year we are actually going to have a couple of spots we're betting to do watch parties, to do Seahawk watch parties. I met a couple of Hawks fans at this thing, and they go, we just get together as friends because there's no good place to do it in Orange County. Well, while we're there for 3.5 hours, I had a chance to talk and do some stuff. So this guy reached out to one of his buddies that owns 5 bars in Orange County.
Oh, nice.
Like Blackie's, I mean, like nice spots.
Okay.
And so we're setting up a meeting to see if we can work something out.
Figure something out for the watch parties, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, because I know we've talked about it. We talked about it with Matt, who's helped us a lot. That's Pete, our producer's buddy, who actually introduced us to Pete, who's been doing a killer job. Thanks, Pete. We got to hang out at the Super Bowl. We haven't talked about that either, huh? The Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, no.
Oh gosh. Well, it might be another show, but anyways, so. There was a place called the Tavern Bar in Costa Mesa.
Tavern Bar. Okay, I've heard of it.
And when I first, we went there.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Tavern Bar. Okay,
yeah. And there was 12 people there. Okay, that spot used to be standing room only when I moved to Mission Viejo. When I first moved here, it was in the season. I said, gee, I'd like to watch a game somewhere. And we looked up Seahawk bars. They said Tavern Bar. Got there about 20 minutes before the game. Standing room only. That place, you could not get in the door. So you can visualize it's a big spot.
Yeah,
we had to be over 300 people in that thing. So if we could find a spot, we could really make a fun event and do something here locally. And so we'll be on the watch for that. And then this is my reminder to you: April 7th is the big event. April 7th, the First and Goal Project, Celebrity and Golf Invitational. Is your calendar in front of you?
Yeah, I do have that. I know we have that day off though.
Yeah, it's Monday, so yeah, I know you're good.
We have I would probably have to leave early if anything. That's the only thing.
That's all right.
7th? Yeah.
Yeah, we have 11 o'clock tea time.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, don't worry. You don't have to stay for the auction. We'll let you go. And actually, Steve Hauschka just texted me.
Of course.
So Hauschka's good for next Tuesday. So if you're watching, we're going to have Steve Hauschka, part of the Super Bowl championship team, part of that run, and we're going to talk about all the new kicking rules and what he thinks about them. So anyhow, so we'll get Steve Hauschka on next week. And anyway, so April 7th, I don't know if I've updated you, but Alonzo Mitz is playing. And Alonzo's been on the show. And Alonzo plays one-handed.
Yep, I've seen that.
Okay, we talked about that.
I've seen him, yeah.
Yeah, he's a character. So he's coming out. He's all set. Will Blackman just said he's going to play. So Will's going to join us.
Nice.
I'm trying to run through the Seahawks off the top of my head, which is great. Steve Hauschka is coming. Here we go. And others.
And others, yeah.
Cassius Marsh is going to come. I can't announce. There's one active roster player that's coming. I can't announce him yet. And so that's cool. And, of course, as soon as we get off the show, the other 5 will come to mind. Because I think we have about 10 former Seahawks coming and joining us. We'll have 36 celebrities this year. We'll have one on every hole.
Nice.
Oh, it's gonna be really cool. I should have the list right here in my room next to me. Anyhow, so April 7th, there's still foursomes available. Reach out to us and we'll get you signed up. We have a lot of volunteers. A lot of 12s are volunteering. A lot of folks that watch the show will be there, so that's always cool. It'll be a good time. Anyhow, I think we talked about the combine. We talked about some roster moves, and we're coming up on the draft.
Big off season for the Seahawks. Big off season. We got opportunity.
There's one other topic that we haven't talked about that I think was right up your alley, and maybe we did 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure, and that is Coach Pete taking the job with the Raiders.
Not the Raiders, yeah.
So, well, actually, before I want your opinion
about this real quick,
on that. What are your thoughts on that for Coach?
I know he's probably been waiting to get back on the staff and coach. I know he's been itching for it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're talking about a guy who understands being able to rebuild a culture, rebuild a team, and get them in a winning mindset. And so he's going to be able to do that. And he has a very good eye for talent. I don't think he gets enough credit on his aspect of being able to identify players. And then he brought in Chip Kelly as well for offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And so, another coach there, college in with the Eagles. And so coming off a national championship, so he's familiar with some of these younger players and watched a lot of tape on these guys that are coming into this draft. So, he has a different lens that could work within his type of offense. I know he likes to spread the ball out, but it's not really for the pass. It's being able to run the ball. And that's what Pete's about, run the ball. It's a little bit unconventional, running it with, 2 running backs or a single running back and 2 tight ends, but nonetheless, they're still looking to run the ball to get the mismatch in numbers. I think you have a solid quarterback. I mean, they have an opportunity to draft, a couple good quarterbacks to be that franchise player.
Right.
You always hear the worst whispers of Shedeur Sanders kind of being that guy, potentially being the Raiders there. I mean, but Cam Ward, you have a slew of good quarterbacks that are coming out of this draft that you can kind of make into a franchise guy. And with also having a solid quarterback out there right now. So it's going to be interesting, though. I think, it may not be this first year, but you can see them be on the upward of being competitive, though.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the Raiders, there's been a few people that have been sharing that Cam Ward will probably be the number 1 pick overall. That was their call. Just he's really emerged as not only a talent, but one of those possible Jaden Daniel team leader guys, franchise guys. Shedeur had a great collegiate career. I don't know how that will equate into an NFL career. I don't know what his size is. I haven't really followed it, but when you have a quarterback, there's a lot of other attributes other than hucking a ball.
Yeah,
and we've seen that.
Durability is gonna be huge.
Yeah, but one thing that I've learned in getting to know you and what you have shared about Coach Carroll and how he came in. And it's so apparent now when you look at it. He came into a team that had been struggling for a decade. I mean, the Seahawks really hadn't done a whole lot. But they were struggling, and he came in, and to your point, he cleared house. He didn't care who you were.
Yeah, he gave everyone an opportunity that was there through the training camp. And then, they wanted to free up some cap space, and they did that within the receiving core. And then
wasn't afraid to do it.
And then half the team got cut almost. I mean, like I said, we're walking around there with name tags. I mean, it was it was a culture shock for sure because we had veteran guys that had been other places. Maybe this is their last straw on a team here, and guys were just walking around on eggshells of like, I've never seen this in my 8 years, 10 years being in the NFL. Like that was the type of impact that he came in and kind of like just kind of control it and what he was looking for within his team. And he's like, well, I figure I got 3 years. So this first year, let's put a competitive team out there. And I mean, we have a veteran quarterback. We had some good running backs. I mean, then we go bring Marshawn in the fold there. And I mean, the division was down, but we won the division 7-9. I mean, it was just getting your foot in the playoff, in the playoffs. And for me, it gave me a different understanding on what it is to compete. Right, you can't control your division. Hey, we got in there 7-9, but we're playing the defending champion Saints at home, and we get the win. Whoa, now we're on a run. We go to Chicago, 11 degrees. I'll never forget that with how cold it was playing. It was my first time playing in the snow, so for me it was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. Historic.
Yeah.
We're Soldier Field in the snow playoffs. Like, oh, I'm about this.
Yeah.
That was a game to where we beat ourselves, and we played them early in the season, and we got the win as well. So we were familiar with this team. Like there was some confidence going into that game of we've seen this team, we know how they play, and we match up very well. So I mean, we were one game away from going to the NFC Championship game on a 7-9 record. And Matt Hasselbeck is out there having a game of his life, throwing just dimes all over the field, and guys aren't catching the ball because their hands are frozen. I mean, he's probably dropping touchdown passes, and not having that understanding of playing in cold weather where you got to keep your hands warm, and once they freeze, it's tough to get that grasp again.
Yeah.
So, but it gave me a different mentality, of mindset of like, hey, if guys are believing and competing, it's any given Sunday. That's why they have the saying, it's any given Sunday. I mean, we're all professionals. Some teams may be bad because they don't have the chemistry within the team. It could be communication or whatever, but we're all still professionals out there. And so it gave a different insight of like, dang, we were one game away from going to NFC Championship. Who knows? I don't know. I don't recall who was in that championship game though. But I mean, again, at that point, you go in there and compete to win one more game. You're in the Super Bowl and coming on a 7-9 record. It's crazy.
Funny, you mentioned Matt Hasselbeck. I got to see him at the NFL breakfast when I was in New Orleans for the Super Bowl, and it was good to see him. And but I see Pete being the perfect fit for this job for all those things that you were saying. The Raiders need to be shooken up. They need to just let the leaves fall where they may, man. Just shake it up, see what happens, but get some new blood. Get some guys that walk on eggshells, get them competing again and not comfortable with a big contract. And I think he's just the coach to do it. The only, I think, concern I have is that his coaching style, does it still resonate today like it did for you, 20 years, whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean,
how many years ago was it? 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the biggest thing it's going to be what's going to be the initial dynamic of the team. How young is the team going to be? Like what? Because when he did it with us, he couldn't have established veteran players. You had some sparingly within the space there, but he was really kind of relying on that second year, third year, having a younger demographic. A lot of aspect of where guys are buying into the team dynamic, which is hard in the professional landscape with it being just the revolving door type of situation. But if you have a younger personnel that's there, they're more able to buy into the culture. And that's kind of the route that he went within the Seahawks there. And then he did wear the GM hat as well as the head coach because he's a player's coach. And so that gave a lot of mixed signals to some of the players of not being trustworthy because it's like, hey, how's it going, Dave? You're doing such a great job. And then, Dave, you're cut. We go back to meeting and everyone's like, hey, where's Dave at? Like, and it's like, I just see, so it gave mixed signals of seeing the business side of it. So hopefully there's a better, hopefully he has an approach to be able to kind of address that or, get the players more aware of like, hey, this is the business and this is the type of situation. And I think some guys got caught off guard of, being a little naive of the business aspect of the situation and felt a type of way about it. But I think it can work. I think Chip going to college and coming back kind of maybe helps that situation. But But I think Pete's just a personal guy. I mean, he's been coaching. I mean, he's been teaching at USC, so he's been around, college kids. I
Well,
mean,
I'll
he's kind
tell
of
you,
getting a little bit like demographic.
I've not ever come across anybody that says they don't like him. I've never. Usually, you'll find somebody that's rubbed somebody the wrong way. You can throw some names out there, and at least somebody will say, "Oh man, I wouldn't play for that
Yeah,
guy."
we've had our battles, and I felt that way for a little bit. But then you could be maturing and understanding some different aspects of his coaching style or what he was looking to get out of me as a player. Then it's like, okay, well, I understand it, right? And so I think that a lot of guys probably do fall into that bucket of like maybe there has been some grudges at different points or misunderstandings in a situation, and guys kind of bounce back and it's like, okay, well, I see what it was type of situation, right? So I mean, again, he's a player's coach, and I mean, player's coach that is a GM too, which again, in this business is very tough to do.
I hope he does well there, and it's easy to say because they're not in our division and they're not
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah,
it's
take the Chiefs out. Yeah, and
that's
them.
it. Yeah,
The Chargers get better and Broncos get better. Take the Chiefs out of that division.
that's it. They've had their run, and it's time for them to be the Patriots
Yeah,
and start
right.
scraping the barrel. Actually, there is one other newsworthy thing, and good riddance. Debo Samuel goes to
The Commanders. Yeah,
Washington.
I like that.
So
I like that move for Dan Quinn and the Commanders out
do
there.
you?
Yeah, I think it gives them a different. They still need defense. I mean, he has weapons on offense. I think it's good for them to have an additional weapon out there. But I think for them to
But
really compete, they need defense though.
is it? Do you think Debo is the one though? Because John Lynch is pretty damn good, and when you let a cat go for a fifth round, that sends a message. That means you're done.
Well, I
And
mean, he
this
had a terrible. I mean, he didn't have his best year either, though. I mean, he dropped a lot of
couple,
passes out there. So I mean, it kind
yes,
of like he's set the market value for where he was at,
yeah,
unfortunately. So I mean, the Commanders got a steal on the fifth round, because I mean he's better than a fifth round. You're not going to draft a fifth round receiver like that. I mean, maybe you can. I mean, maybe there's a guy that's out
no,
there, but I mean, you have a proven veteran player. Gives more weapons. All eyeballs are going to be on him because you can incorporate him in the run. He can he's great run after catch type of guy. So I mean, it does bring more versatility to that offense.
yeah. I
Than
think
not.
I think though I think you've got put in check a little bit. I think you're going to see a little bit maybe a new Debo because he got a little overweight. He got a little full of himself.
Oh, he's got something to prove for sure.
Yeah, he got injured a little bit, and for a team to let you go for a fifth rounder, that's a little bit of an ego poke.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say this: I've watched a lot of Niners Seahawks games and Niners games. Being here in California, I don't think I've ever seen anybody freaking tackle that guy. Debo Samuel, it's
Great run
either
after catch.
they stop his forward momentum and the whistle gets called because he's going against three or four guys, or he
Yeah.
gets forced out of bounds.
Yeah.
He doesn't go down. I mean, he's legit, but he's also become a little bit of a problematic, So I don't know how that comes into a locker room where the Redskins just seem to be a very cohesive team because they overachieve. They don't
Yeah.
have a lot of talent, I don't think, overall.
Yeah.
And so then you have a star come in and be
Yeah.
a disruptor to that, even as good as he is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be tough because I mean, you have Bobby still out there, right? I mean, if Bobby's still out there, then you have that, Hall of Famer,
Yeah,
soon to be first ballot Hall of Famer
yeah,
that's in that locker room that can kind of get some things toned down and in check there, right? And then obviously, Dan and the culture that they're building. So I mean, a guy like that, I mean, I know they're paying, they have to absorb his contract there, but I mean, you can get rid of him after the season because I mean, you probably got to pay for 1 year. You see how it goes, and then you get rid of him if he's a cancer type of personnel. I mean, yeah.
and I think Dan Quinn's probably a good personality to handle that too. I don't see a Dan Quinn putting up with a whole lot of crap.
And Dan is down to earth, cool, chill guy, very personable.
Did you play for him?
Huh?
Did you play for him?
Yeah, he was a defensive line coach. He was defensive coordinator as well in Seattle.
Well, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
I know Dan there. Yeah, so it's I mean, I like them as a coach. I like
All
them as
right.
a coach. So I mean, yeah, I can see them doing some good things though out there.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
like I said, I'm glad he's not with the Niners anymore because when he is Debo, he is a beast.
yeah,
And
it's a
so
problem.
yeah, he won't be missed twice a year on our schedule. That's for sure. Yeah. So, all right. Now that's it. Hey, we almost went an hour.
It happens like that sometimes. Good conversation.
Talking football. Hey, anyways, well, good checking in. Glad the girls are doing well. We got Steve Hauschka coming on next week. We got my buddy that I met rowing. We'll complain about being old and rowing for a charity and and how we survived that. But, anyways, we'll see you all next week. Go Hawks!
Hey, one last thing though, before though, just let me know if you're ever going to invite me to that rowing. I might have something going on.
I will tell you what it is. All right, brother. Hey,
all right, man.
Good one. We'll see you all next week.
Go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
That's funny.